I would like to now talk to you about drugs. Drugs, I'll start by defining drugs. A drug is defined as any substance or chemical compound that influences normal cellular activity, either positively or negatively. Positively, if it stimulates, if it increases cellular function. Negatively, if it inhibits, if it reduces the normal cell function. Now, therefore, there's a wide range of substances and chemical compounds that we can rightly call as drugs. So we can classify drugs, number one, as those which are helpful for treatment of disease. That is, drugs with therapeutic indications, okay, with therapeutic use. That's group number one of drugs. Then group number two of drugs are those which have no therapeutic use. Okay, they are not used to treat disease, but they are used for pleasure. We call them the drugs of abuse: alcohol, tobacco, heroin, cocaine, morphine, LSD, ecstasy, and many others. The long list of drugs that are abused. These are drugs taken for pleasure. They are not treating any disease, they're just taken to feel good. Then drugs number three are toxins or poisons. Now, these are substances which are either taken or given, okay, inadvertently. That is, you take it without knowing. Somebody puts cyanide into your tea, you drink it and you die. Okay, that's poison. Or somebody puts organophosphate compound like DDT, the insecticides, in your uji or whatever, your mboga. You take it and you die. Now, those are poisons. That is homicide, killing. So toxins can be taken when it is given to you deliberately by somebody, or you can take it without knowing. Children can drink paraffin without knowing. They think it is soda, okay? Or they can take those nicely looking colored tablets, and they take it, of course, in wrong quantities, and then it hurts them. That is poisoning, okay? So toxins, poisons, toxins are those which are natural in source, okay? Like when you take bee sting or snake venom, they are from natural, from living organisms, so therefore they are called toxins. But poisons are others which are produced in the laboratory. Now, whichever case of the drugs you are talking about, and I hope I'll be able to talk about all of them, the drugs should be used appropriately. There are times when we use toxins, like when we want to kill rabid dogs, we give them poisons. Okay, when you want to kill rats, so there is proper use of toxins and poisons. But to use it to kill your fellow human beings, now that is the wrong thing. Drugs of abuse should not be used because they create addiction and dependence, and they produce disease and they kill. Okay. But now that brings me to the third group of drugs, therapeutic drugs. Therapeutic drugs, there's a long list of chemical compounds called therapeutic drugs for every organ, for every system in the human body. Okay? Talk of the cardiovascular system, talk of the respiratory system, the gastrointestinal system, the renal system, take of the reproductive system, the endocrine system, the musculoskeletal system, the nervous system. Each of those systems have got their diseases, and each of those diseases have got their drugs. Now, a few things about drugs. You need to understand that drugs, number one, are not foods. Drugs are compounds researched and recommended for use for treatment of disease. They're not recommended to be taken as food. All drugs are poisons. They don't kill you just because you take a certain recommended dose. Any drug in very high quantities, dosages, will hurt, will harm, will kill. Even Panadol, even aspirin, they will easily kill. So point number one, I would like you to understand that please, when you go to the hospital and you are prescribed, you are given drugs, number one, please follow the instructions. How much you are supposed to take. If it is 2 tablets 3 times, follow just that. Don't follow your own imaginations of how to use them. The quantities that you are given, we are usually very specific in the hospital how much you need to take. If you are told 1 tablet once a day, you are told 1 capsule 4 times a day, please just take as instructed to avoid, number 1, overdosing, taking more than you should take, which can cause toxicity, poisoning, and kill you, or underdosing. If you don't take as instructed, you could be underdosing. In other words, you are sick, you are taking drugs, but because the dose you are taking is not enough, you are not getting well. So you are frustrated, and when next you go back to the doctor thinks you've been taking drugs, he's saying, or he thinks, or he wants to change your drugs because he believes, he sees your drug his drug did not work. It is you who was not taking the drug as expected, as instructed. Let us learn to follow instructions as given, usually verbally, and then written down on the envelopes containing the drugs. It is interesting to note the problem of drug taking. You know, it is said that for every 10 patients who are given instructions by the pharmacist, doctors usually see patients, then they write a prescription, the prescription goes to the pharmacy, so it's the pharmacist who gives the patients the drugs and gives them instructions. It is amazing how frequently the pharmacist gives drugs, gives instructions, even writes them down, and patients don't follow the instructions properly. As a result, they don't get well. So the doctor is frustrated, the pharmacist is frustrated, the patient is frustrated, and you know, it is terrible. For proper benefit from therapeutic drugs, please follow instructions. A drug like antibiotics, you have an infection, pneumonia, tonsillitis, throat infection, diarrhea, whichever disease infection you have, you are told antibiotics generally are given for minimum of 5 days if you are not very ill, but otherwise it should be 1 week. Commonly, when you have an infection and you start using antibiotics, by the third day usually you are feeling much better. By the 4th day you could actually be quite well. And some people stop. They keep the drugs for use next time. Now when a child is sick, you give 1 capsule or 1 tablet. Please, you do that with antibiotics, you are causing havoc. When you underdose antibiotics, the bacteria, the organisms quickly develop resistance. That resistance spreads around, and soon you have a situation like we right now have at our National Hospital in Kenyatta. Recently we saw it in the papers, not a secret, that we have got bacteria in one of the wards in our hospital which are resistant to all the drugs. And this kind of problems result because of misuse of antibiotics. Drugs, diseases like TB, treated with up to 4 or 5 drugs. If you don't follow those instructions, they easily develop resistance. So now we have a situation like multi-drug resistant TB, and we don't know what to do with those patients. There's no drug available to treat them, all because of misuse of antibiotics. Talk about HIV, the antivirals used for treating HIV. Those drugs have done a wonderful job for our nation and for the world. But if you don't follow the instructions, the result is resistance. Follow instructions as given by your pharmacist, by your doctor, and don't stop using drugs midway. Don't overdose, don't underdose, and don't give them to the wrong people. If you are on treatment and you want to add another drug, please always consult with your doctor. The drug you are taking may negatively interact with the drug you're already taking, and the result is toxicity, poisoning, or interference with a disease. There's a lot more I could say, but I think that is good enough for you to get to know that drugs should be used correctly and properly. Drugs of abuse should not be used. Poisons are left to specialists and instructions.